royal accounts which show that the Prince of Wales funded the Sussexes until the summer of last year.
However, in this astounding clip from the couple's explosive interview with Oprah, Harry said the money was cut off. But should Prince Charles be more supportive towards his son? We're joined now by the Queen's former press secretary, Dickie Arbiter, and writer Afia Adom, along with ITV News royal editor Chris Shipp. Chris, let's start with you, because this is quite it's an interesting sort of position that we find ourselves in, reporting on Harry and Meghan again, and we hear their explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey. We hear what they've been saying, which causes some sort of consternation between them and their family and the British public, of course. And then we hear that there could be some disparity in what we're hearing in the interview and what actually happened. Can you talk us through the detail?
Yeah, look, I mean, this has all come out in what's called the Sovereign Grant Report. It comes out every year. It's the sort of part of public funding that pays for the monarchy. And alongside that, you get Clarence House's report about where their money came from in the Duchy of Cornwall. And it was during a briefing that we had with Clarence House in which it was pointed out to us that Prince Charles paid, quotes, a substantial sum to Harry and Meghan to help with their transition. And it was pointed out to us that Harry and Meghan did say quite clearly when they announced they wanted to leave the royal family that they wanted to be financially independent. And I sort of asked them, like, isn't there like a disconnect here between, on the one hand, Harry saying I was literally cut off financially by my family, and you saw the clip just there, he even did the arm movement, didn't he, to say I was cut off. And then Prince Charles's office saying, well, he paid him a substantial sum. What is clear is that basically money was paid from Clarence House to Harry and Meghan, but it did end in the summer when Harry and Meghan moved to the US and decided that they wanted to start their new life. So, you know, both are true in a way, but actually when you look at how it was phrased, they are entirely different categories, can you say?
Yeah. OK, so, Afia, are we confronting another situation where Harry and Meghan say one thing and back here the royals seem to be giving a different perspective, shall we say? Because, as Chris Shipp says, Harry had said, my family literally cut me off financially, and now we know a substantial sum was provided.
Unfortunately, I think we are in a situation where perhaps this is about semantics. I'd like to think that when Harry was saying, my family literally cut me off in the first quarter, I mean, I'd like to think that maybe he got the dates wrong, or he, you know, perhaps meant something else, because we know that the Duchy of Cornwall, that is Prince Charles's private money. I had to look at the accounts, which are on the royal website this morning, and it said that they funded the Duke and Duchess of Sussex up until the 31st of March 2020. So we know that another amount was given, that was probably a cash gift after that. So I think he was probably saying that the official, you know, money that himself and his brother that they got from Prince Charles ended at a certain time. He didn't mention the cash gift, but so let's also remember that Harry and Meghan did pay back £2.4 million from Frogmore Cottage, from the refurbishment and renovation that went on there. They did pay that back to Prince Charles as well in that time, and that his spending went up last year, and that cash gift
in the
was
interview,
added.
as you say, he'd mentioned they were cut off in the first quarter of 2020. A spokesperson for the couple said that it was the first quarter of the fiscal reporting period in the UK, which starts annually in April. It's the same date as the transitional year of the Sandringham Agreement. I mean, we're getting caught up, as Afia says, in semantics here. But the fact of the matter is, Harry feels he was cut off financially, and clearly Clarence House are saying a substantial sum was given. I mean, that in itself seems to be a discrepancy, Dickie.
It is a discrepancy, and Clarence House is not going to lie about the substantial amount, because these figures are up for scrutiny by MPs. So they have to be absolutely clear on what's happened to the money. Harry, he was a little bit economical with the truth. Yes, in theory, he was cut off because he finished work in March. His last job, official job, was the 9th of March, when he went to the Commonwealth Service at Westminster Abbey. After that, he was no longer a working member of the royal family, but the official money was taken up to the end of the financial year, which is the 5th of April. Subsequently, Prince of Wales did pay a substantial amount. Say the summer. What is the summer? Meteorologically, it's the end of August. Astrologically, it's the end of September. By which time, if you take September, he'd signed a lucrative deal with Netflix, signed a lucrative deal at the end of the year with Spotify. You know, how long can a parent support a child? Yes, we're living in an age of the bank of mum and dad, but most youngsters don't have several $1 million in their account.
I wonder, Chris, it sounded like from what you were saying that the Clarence House were at pains to point this out to you, to draw your conclusion to the fact that this substantial sum had been given by Prince Charles to Harry. And actually, it feels like, is this the royal family sort of just striking back a touch at some of the things that we're hearing from America just with regards to the situation between Charles and Harry?
I think it's true to say that they used the opportunity of the Duchy of Cornwall reports coming out to point out that this substantial sum was paid. Actually, if you look at the money that Prince Charles pays for his son, by the way, we should be clear, he also pays for the work of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, as well as how he used to pay for the work of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. It's all kind of lumped together. Actually, they even lump it together with capital items like, you know, lawnmowers for the garden sheds. You can never quite work out who gets what money. But that money that Prince Charles pays to his sons did go down last year, which kind of reflects the fact that Harry and Meghan left. It went from 5.6 million to 4.5 million. But Harry and Meghan did leave. But we're talking here about the sort of transition money that Prince Charles gave to Harry and Meghan. And, you know, by all accounts, it's a substantial sum. I will just also pick up on something that Afia said just now. That £2.4 million that Harry and Meghan paid back for the refurbishment of Frogmore Cottage, actually the Queen's Treasurer, the keeper of the Privy Purse, Sir Michael Stevens, said yesterday, actually, that money did help to offset some of the impact of the pandemic, because the royal finances have been hit really hard by the pandemic, not least from a lack of visitors to all the palaces. And we should be clear here and point out that £2.4 million really helped to offset some of that pain.
Afia, how much would Harry and Meghan expect to still be supported financially when their aim is to stop being working royals and to be financially independent and strike their own commercial deals?
Well, they shouldn't expect, right now, they shouldn't expect to be supported at all, and they're not supported at all. They're making their own money. They've done their deals with Netflix, with Spotify, with making the documentary with Apple TV, writing books and other things. They don't expect to be supported now. They're not supported now because they've forged ahead and made their own way. I think in that
some point, that money, that tap was going to get turned off.
Absolutely. And I don't think at any point they wanted the tap to still be on. You know, they had a transition period.
Prince Harry seemed pretty upset about it in the Oprah interview.
Because he was so concerned about security. You know, that's what he said, and what he said repeatedly. It was about security for his family that had been, you know, under attack. When I say attack, you know, they had so much abuse levelled at them. He was concerned for his family, he's concerned for security.
Dickie, you'll
and
understand how
that.
important that security is for the royal family, and that's a huge financial burden. And actually, for Harry and Meghan to go over there with a small child and a family, that is a hugely important part of what they need in their life.
When, especially, he's talked so openly about his fears.
Yes. Security is hugely important, and security in this country is covered by the Home Office, i.e. Metropolitan Police. When they go abroad, if they're working members of the royal family, they're still covered by the Home Office. But Harry chose to be financially independent. He left this country, went to Canada, then went to the United States. And yes, the general impression was that he should be paying for security. That takes a large chunk out of your earnings. So, yes, he's signed with Spotify, he's signed with Netflix, lucrative deals, and they help to pay for the security. But you've got to ask yourself, if they're so tight and strapped for money, why move into a £10 million house with 9 bedrooms and 16 bathrooms? You cut your coat according to your cloth. You start smaller and you work up. So, you know, that begs an answer as well.
All right, Dickie Arbiter, Afia Odum, thank you very much indeed. Chris Shipp, thank you for taking us through the complicated royal finances.